Greetings, Zombie Slayers, Slippery Jim here. Welcome to the first of my Black Ops 4 Zombies solo high round strategy guides, and this is for the map 9. So if you haven't watched my guides before, basically what I do is I take you through every step of the way from round 1 to round 30 and show you exactly how to get set up, the tips and tricks to get equipment, Easter eggs that are essential, weapons, the training routes to take, and so forth that will enable you to get quickly, efficiently, and legitimately to high rounds playing solo. So here's our setup. I'm not going to go into that in great detail right now, but we will be talking about that later on as we get into the game. Here's another quick look at it here, the elixirs, the perks, and so forth. As far as talismans go, you could probably choose the one that makes your shield last longer, but it's not really essential to have one of those. So to start off here on round 1, what you want to do is you want to claim your challenge banner. So go over to one of the banners on the side of the arena and just knife the rope to activate the challenges. So the first challenge we have, these will be random every time, is to get 6 equipment kills. So we have Wraith Fires, which is the recommended equipment, and you want to round up the zombies, just chuck down a Wraith Fire, and it's a pretty easy challenge to complete, so you can collect your first reward here. And the first reward that we can collect is a free life, which is pretty awesome. If you ever get a reward you don't want, you just have to knife the reward to get rid of it, by the way. Now, it's worth mentioning the starting weapon that I've chosen here. Our next challenge, by the way, is to get 5 consecutive headshot kills, so that should be pretty easy as well. But the starting weapon I've chosen is the Strife pistol, and you'll notice I have the operator mod equipped, which will take a little bit of leveling up of the weapon for you to get that, but it's called the Stiletto Bayonet. And the beauty of this is it allows us to get one-hit melee kills on zombies right up to and including round 4. And we've got our second reward here, which is some bonus points. So the reason that's important is Treyarch have changed the point system here in zombies, and I'll explain how that works in a moment. But first, we're going to open up the Ra Tower and head up to the top of the Ra Tower here and look around at the top, and you'll find a part for the shield. So in this case, it's right here. It could also spawn in one of 3 locations around this top area of the map. So our blade trap is located right here, but we need 1500 points to activate that, because our next challenge is to slide under the blade trap without taking any damage. Now, if you don't happen to get this challenge, you still want to actually do this at some point in the early rounds, because it's necessary for a little Easter egg that will give you immunity to trap damage that is very useful for later in the game. So make sure you do activate and slide under the blade trap at some point in the early game, just to tick that off the list for that Easter egg as well. Now, how the points work now is basically you get a maximum limited number of points per zombie now. You can't just spray them to get hit markers to get easy points off the zombies. So what that means is melee kills still give you the maximum number of points for a zombie. The next maximum number of points is from headshot kills. And by the way, there's our next reward that we've been holding out for, which is the Pack-a-Punch Strife. And we also picked up a part off the middle pedestal there, which was for the acid trap that we'll need a bit later as well. Now, we just hit the gong. There's one of these gongs in the top of each of the god towers, each of the 4 god towers around the map. And basically when you activate them, you'll have a little mini boss challenge, which is pretty easy, especially with the Pack-a-Punch Strife. And you need to defeat each of those 4 banner champions, they're not banner champions, 4, let's call them gong champions, in order to unlock Pack-a-Punch. So there's a second one done. We got a brawler and a gladiator. I always kill the brawler first. He's the guy that jumps around, because he does way more damage than the armored guy. So we're going to kill them off. Just stay nice and safe. You don't want to get downed in a stupid way. With all the zombies wandering around. Obviously you want to aim for their head and just pick up that little blue floaty head thing that they drop at the end, because you'll need that later. After that, you can either open up the bottom door on the inside of either the Ra or the Danu towers. Doesn't matter which one you do. We're going to open up the Danu tower one here that leads into the middle temple area of the map. Turn left, and as you follow this ring corridor around, you'll go past the mystery box location. There's also a buildable table right there. And you'll have an entrance to the temple over here as well. So we're going to go into the temple briefly here and pick up the other 2 parts we need for the acid trap. So these are on the lower level, and you just want to go into this little enclosed corridor area, and right at the end you'll see a cog looking thing, and on the opposite side of the room, the similar sort of corridor, at the end of this one you'll find a chain. So they're the 2 other parts we need to build the acid trap. Okay, so we're going to go back and keep following this ring corridor around, and we'll get to the bottom of the Odin tower here with the shields. One location for the shield part that spawns in this tower is right there where we picked it up. It can also spawn randomly in one of the other 2 locations in this same tower, which is right here, collection of shields. And then up the top here as well, I'm going to show you right here is the 3rd location. Now, you want to try and get here by the end of round 4 and buy the vapor off the wall. Now, if you've leveled this to max, and make sure you equip in the armory the bayonet on this one as well. So this sort of picks up from where the strife stops being a 1-hit kill at round 4, and you can actually get 1-hit kills with the strife bayonet, with the vapor bayonet, right up to round 9, which is pretty awesome. It's almost as good as having a Bowie knife attached to your weapon, which is something I've always wanted to have for a long time, and now Treyarch have pretty much done it. So yeah, there you go. Pretty cool. Some of the animations and stuff are pretty cool on the perk machines. It's just a shame that they're all the same. It would have been nice to have individual perk machines with jingles that we used to have, but never mind. That's a story for another day. So we're basically building up points. You'll see me drink one of my elixirs here, Temporal Gift, guys. And you want to activate this whenever there's a drop that you want to extend the time that you have that drop active for. So in this case, double points. You can also use it on an insta-kill. And it's especially useful for a fire sale as well. So that's why we have the Temporal Gift elixir. Okay, so basically we're working our way around. This is one of the other parts for the shield, the final part, and it can also be located here on that statue, or you'll see down in the lower level, it can also spawn on this mantelpiece thing here. So yeah, apart from the Ra tower, which it spawns at the top, the Danu tower doesn't have a shield part, but the other 2 towers, the Zeus and Odin towers, it can spawn in one of the 3 levels of those 2 towers if you're looking for the shield parts. But I've shown you the locations, so you should be pretty right. So we've just been basically going around the 4 towers, and this is completing our gong champions. So this is our 4th and final one. So after you've completed all 4 of those gong champions and defeated them, picked up their blue heads, they're all you need to unlock the Pack-a-Punch, which is located back in the temple area, which is right in the middle of the map. So that's where we're going to go now. Now, on the way back round to the entrance to the temple, we're going to turn right here in the pit, and we're going to build the shield so we have that equipped to protect our back. Then just turn around. The other side of the pit is the entrance to the temple we went through before, and you want to head to the center of this area where you can place the 4 gong champions heads on the pikes. The blood will drain out of those into the center area there, and that will unlock Pack-a-Punch. Now after that unlocks, you'll see the door that leads out to the Odin Zeus area will open the other side of the temple there. But before we do anything else, we're going to turn around, go back through the Danu Ra side, and this window here, you want to shoot that bowl of fire. So I'm just going to show you one location right here, and what we're going to find in these locations potentially is a stone statue head that we're going to need for an Easter egg here. This is the other location at the bottom in the water there of the Danu tower, and basically there are 4 different spawns where it could be in your game, and they're all at the bottom of the different god towers. But you don't actually have to check every single location to find it, although you can do that. Once you've shot that bowl of fire that we showed you earlier, you can actually go to the bridge between the Danu and Ra towers up top here, and if you look down the side of that, you'll see a fiery arrow that will point to the exact tower that you need to go to. So here we can see it's actually pointing at the Zeus tower. So we know that that is where the stone statue head is located in the game here for us. So notice I also picked up the Dying Wish perk, and basically what that does is while it's active, if we do take so much damage that we would normally go down, we'll actually not go down, we'll stay up, and we'll be in a temporarily invulnerable state. And once we come out of that state, we'll be at very, very low health. So you want to be careful and have your shield equipped as you come out of that state. But it's very, very useful. Potentially can give you almost unlimited lives. But it does have a fairly lengthy cooldown once it's used. Now this is the location here in the Zeus tower where we've picked up the stone statue head. So in the bottom of that blood pool. I'll just show you the fourth location so you know where it is. Right here next to the cauldron fire pit in the Odin tower. So what is that stone statue head used for? Well, it's basically the very first thing you need to kick off a little Easter egg that will give you a free wonder weapon for this map. And that is the Death of Orion. That's just one of the trap locations, by the way, where you can build the trap, the acid trap. And you do need the acid trap to do the next part of this Easter egg to get the free wonder weapon. So you can either build that in the Danu entrance area or in the Ra entrance area, which is where we're going to build it right here. So we've got all three parts. We've built the acid trap. Then what you want to do is you want to put down the head right there on that grill there underneath the cauldron of acid. Now, as soon as you have enough points, you want to basically activate that acid trap, and it will pour acid down onto this stone head and melt it into a little scorpion that you want to pick up. We'll get to that later though, because I don't quite have enough points to activate the trap at this stage. Alright, so we will have to hit the box a fair bit to get at least one important weapon for the high rounds, which is the Hellion rocket launcher. Now, if you did have your temporal gift elixir available, you'd want to use it right now so that you have the maximum time to hit the box during the fire sale. But we're just going to hit it till it runs out. We might get lucky. We'll see how we go. So this stage, really, we're working on the free Death of Orion Easter egg. And we're getting the elemental zombies spawning in as well, which are a real pain in the neck, but oh well, we'll manage. Alright. So you'll notice I actually had, as one of my perks, Secret Source. Secret Source is actually a really underrated perk in that it gives you a lot of flexibility in that game to actually switch out that perk to whatever you need at the point in the game that you're at. So in this case, probably for end game, what we're going to try and get with that is quick revive. So you just keep hitting it until you get the perk you want. We're going to activate the trap here. You could also get time slip, which would be quite useful because when it's in your Odin position, time slip actually reduces the cooldown on your special weapon, which can be very useful in killing zombies later on. But probably we want to get quick revive because it gives us that quick health regen. And you'll notice I picked up the scorpion right there. Gives you the quick health regen, but not only that, what it also does is when you've got it in the Odin slot, quick revive will give you a burst of speed every time you get hit by a zombie or take damage, which is really, really useful. And I find that with that equipped, you don't really need to have stamina. Okay, now at this point we have the scorpion. So what we need next is we need a little cup that the crowd will throw at us if we can go for a whole round here with the maximum crowd affinity. So basically crowd affinity, how it works is if you do things the crowd that pleases the crowd, so we're talking about a ton of kills, really quickly, using the specialist weapon, getting headshots, all that stuff. And basically you want to avoid at all costs taking any damage, especially fire damage from the fire traps that can be active during the round. You want to avoid that. Don't throw any grenades at the crowd, either if you've got grenades equipped, because that angers them and lowers your crowd affinity. But basically you want to kill a lot of zombies, don't take much damage, and you want to do that for a whole round. Now you know you've got maximum crowd affinity when the little skeletal thumbs up near the points has got the little sparks coming off it, the particle effect happening. And when you've done that, you'll hear the announcer say, "A gift from Suket." And you can see here, this is what the crowd will throw out to you at that point, at the end, or at the start of the next round. So once you pick up that little cup, you've got what you need to go through and start the next step on this little mini Easter egg, which is to collect the sap from the Danu tree. We just got a tiger around here, which is good. We'll get a max ammo out of this, which is always nice. This is the last round, by the way, that we can get one hit kills with this bayonet, unfortunately. So when you come in here to the tree, basically at this spot right here, you want to melee that to stick the little scorpion in there, and then place the cup underneath that, just underneath the tree. And what that will do is it will collect sap, and it will actually be filled at the start of the next round. So it's not a certain amount of time or anything like that. Basically, you see I just placed it and the round ended straight away. I was able to collect it. And what you can do with this to get a free wonder weapon is you poison the mystery box. So how you do that, you'll notice I hit it in the middle there to get a normal weapon. So basically what you want to do is you want to click the left hand side of the mystery box once you have that sap in the jar that we collected from the Danu Tower. Just clear out this area a little bit here. And I'm just completing the next challenge as well. You want to work your way through those challenges, because one of the challenges later on that's quite useful is you get a free perk out of it. So it's really, really good, especially if you get a perk that you need. Okay, so click the left-hand side of the mystery box to poison the mystery box, and then it'll still cost the normal amount of points, but the weapon that always pops out after you poison it is the wonder weapon, the Death of Orion. And this is probably an optional weapon because we're not really going to be needing this. It does kind of help to have it, but it's not essential. But, you know, it's such an easy Easter egg, you might as well get it. Okay, so we've got our Death of Orion. We've got 2 of our perks. We're probably going to be just concentrating on building points up in the next few rounds so that we can start getting our perks completed. We're probably going to want to switch out our 4th Odin perk as well. And we're going to be wanting to hit the mystery box to get the Helion rocket launcher as our 2nd and final weapon for this high round strategy. So all of that will take points, basically. And you'll notice we've got a fire cell, which is quite convenient. Now, playing solo, you can protect yourself in the early rounds while you hit the box or the pack-a-punch machine just by throwing down a wraith fire behind you. And that actually protects your back really, really well. Another thing that protects you is Victorious Tortoise, guys. Now, this perk is pretty awesome. Basically, what it does is while you have the shield out with this perk active, you will be completely protected from all damage from all sides. So you're pretty much invulnerable while your shield lasts, and even if you get surrounded by zombies and your shield breaks, it actually causes a defensive explosion to clear the zombies away for you to get you out of trouble. So it's actually a pretty OP perk, and I wouldn't be surprised if Treyarch nerf it at some point in the future. So just keep in mind, it might not always be this powerful, but it is right now, and that's why it's almost essential to have it as one of your perks. Now, we also have a PhD slider that we're going to buy next, and the reason that we're going to be buying that is they recently buffed that perk so that it gives you complete invulnerability to explosive damage. And because we're going to be using a quad packer punched Helion rocket launcher in close quarters, that is going to be giving us that explosive invulnerability, so we can blast our way out of trouble like good old, the good old Mustang and Sally days in Black Ops. So yeah, it's pretty awesome now. You also have an effect where if you build up enough, I think of it as friction, but because that's what it feels like, generating friction. But if you slide around enough, you'll get the perk flashing like you can see right now. And if you slide into zombies, it'll actually have like a flop or explosive effect. It's not very powerful, particularly in later rounds, but it's kind of a novelty. But then again, you probably don't want to be sliding towards zombies either. So I really wouldn't use it too much for that effect. Yeah, so you saw an example there as well, basically where I got trapped by zombies, and all you need to do is one of two things. If you have your special weapon active, which I didn't at the time, it was on cooldown, you can just trigger that. That will blast away all the zombies, and you can just mow them down with your special weapon. Gets you out of trouble. If that's not ready to go though, just whip out your shield if you have Victorious Tortoise, and you'll be basically instantly safe until your shield breaks. So unfortunately there, I lingered a bit too long in the acid trap, and actually I would have downed myself if I didn't have Dying Wish. So there, once again, just shows how good Dying Wish is. Now I mentioned earlier an Easter egg that can give you invulnerability to trap damage, and that can come in handy later on, especially when you're hanging out in the arena area where there's a lot of those fire traps popping up everywhere. Basically, I'll explain exactly how you need to unlock that, and then I'll explain the condition that comes with that ability. So, first of all, what you need to do is you need to activate and slide under the blade trap. So we already did that as part of our early challenge. So having done that, you want to activate and slide under the acid trap, but just make sure you don't get hit by the acid, and I recommend doing it from the arena side, sliding into the Ra Tower side or wherever you've got the trap set up. After that, you need to kill 5 of the special zombies in the acid trap. So those zombies are the elemental zombies, the 4 different kinds of elemental zombies: electric, gas, water, and fire, and also the zombie tigers. So once you've killed one of those 5 different kinds of zombies in the acid trap, you'll hear a special audio cue, which is very obvious, and that tells you that you've unlocked that ability to get invulnerability from the traps. So how that works though, it's not complete invulnerability really, because with the acid trap, you're not completely invulnerable, you just take a lot less damage, which means you can walk through the acid without getting instantly downed as you would prior to unlocking that. But the other thing is with this fire here, these little annoying fire things, basically what you need to do with those is once per round you need to get burned by the fire, and it does damage the first time per fire trap. But after that first initial burn damage, you can then walk through it without taking any damage at all for the rest of that individual round. But you need to do that each round to get that effect back. So there is a few qualifications to that effect, but you can see here we're just taking out an electric zombie here in the acid trap, and that's part of completing that. I think there's a fire zombie in there as well. So we're just leading them through the acid trap, and eventually we'll have that ability unlocked. So that's really, really useful, especially if you're hanging out in the central arena area. Mind you, in the high rounds, our main training area is not going to be out there. So I guess you could call this an optional Easter egg, but it's definitely worth doing, I think. Alright, so basically, once we have enough points, we're going to be hitting the box again as well. We're going to need points here both to hit the trap until we get all of the kills that we need for that Easter egg, and also to hit the box to try to get that Helion rocket launcher. Now, I have noticed it can be quite rare to get out of the box, and we've got a fire sail here, so we're going to take our good old temporal gift to extend the amount of time we have on that fire sail. Unfortunately, it is the start of the round, but you can get a lot of fire sales, by the way, if you have good crowd affinity. We have, unfortunately, had a Blightfather spawn in as well, which is going to suck because I don't want to hit the box while that thing's roaming around. We're going to kill that first. So there's a really easy way to kill these things, and that's by using the shield weapon. So you just basically trigger that, and you want to aim for those like warty looking, horrible looking cyst things on its back, and just shoot those away, and it actually dies pretty quick as long as you're fairly accurate shooting those things. Just be careful the zombies don't come up behind you and damage you, but if you do have the Victorious Tortoise perk, you should even be safe from that. The other thing, obviously later on when we have a quad pack-a-punch Hellion, you can shoot him with that and it dies pretty quickly as well. But yeah, we're basically just going to be spamming the box till we get the Hellion, and then we'll be quad pack-a-punching it. So yeah, early on, you do need tons and tons of points. In some ways, you could even swap out the 6th elixir, which I have, which is the Arsenal Accelerator. We got the Hellion there, which was actually relatively quick to some of my previous experiences trying to get it out of the box. But yeah, you could swap out Arsenal Accelerator if you wanted and put a double points spawn in there or something like that if you wanted to. Maybe put in as well using this strategy if you have ammo difficulties. You could also use your Alchemical Antithesis there instead of Burned Out. Burned Out does come in quite useful, I find, but just put whatever you feel you need into those couple. The other elixir that I'm using, by the way, is Equipment, which refreshes your grenades, and that applies to if you get the Homunculus special grenade out of the box in this map, which is like monkey bombs. They are useful to get, but they are very rare, I find, to get out of the mystery box. Now, with the Hellion, and basically with any weapon that you plan on keeping, by the way, in Black Ops 4 Zombies, once you pack-punch that the first time, obviously you can double pack-punch it after that to get the alternate ammo types, which are, you know, the fire or the electric or whatever. But if you double pack-punch it 4 times after the initial pack-punch, it will actually get a pretty significant damage buff as well. It's just the way Frag do things here in Black Ops 4. Sort of similar to the double tap, I guess, but although the damage buff applies to other weapons, not just projectile weapons. So that's pretty cool. So you want to make sure you double pack-a-punch at least 4 times after the initial pack-a-punch. And that's what, it does take a lot of points, but just one of those things you have to do in Black Ops 4 Zombies. So here I'm testing, and you can see I'm still taking damage from this fire trap in the middle. So I actually realized that I had one elemental zombie type left to kill with the acid trap to get that Easter egg for trap immunity. And the elemental zombie I need to kill, the last type I need to kill here in this game, is the gas zombie. So we'll be looking out for one of those to run through the acid trap pretty shortly, probably in the next round. Meanwhile, I have enough points to go Pack-a-Punch. And obviously we've Pack-a-Punched the Wonder Weapon already as well, so it basically gives it a little bit more power, I guess. More ammo, all that good stuff. But we're working our way towards the max power here in the Hellion. So if you're not sure if you've got the damage buff or not, just check whether it's gone from 2,500 for the double Pack-a-Punch to 1,500. If it says 1,500, you know that you're at the max damage level already on the weapon, and then it's just a matter of making sure you have the right alternate ammo that you want. Okay, so let's pick up fresh repaired shield. This map, I find there are pretty regular max ammo rounds, special rounds, so that's really good in terms of if you're getting through a lot of ammo. And you'll notice I'm working my way through those challenges as we go, working towards the challenge reward that gives us the 5th free perk. You could, now that they've brought out the new DLC elixirs, you can of course use the elixir that gives you 4 extra perks on top of the original 4. But I doubt many people are going to have many of those up their sleeves. Probably want to save those for a special occasion or something. Alrighty, into round 17. So yeah, this particular game, it does vary depending on your luck and stuff like that. But in this case, the setup does take quite a long time. But it takes a long time in terms of the number of rounds, I guess you could say, but not really time-wise. We get to round 30 fairly quickly, and after that the rounds go pretty quick as well. So it's really not too bad. Later on, the strategy that I'll be showing you guys is a strategy that's pretty ammo efficient as well, and still gets through the rounds pretty quickly. So I'm looking around here for a gas zombie, hoping that one spawns in. Some rounds you seem to get a lot more of the elemental zombies than others. Hopefully we can get one to spawn. Finish off that little Easter egg for the trap immunity. And yeah, eventually after that, after we've pack-a-punched the Hellion to max power, what we want to do is start hitting that Odin perk machine and try and get Quick Revive as our Odin perk. Alright, so far so good. So yeah, just talking about my special weapon as well. You want to whip that out every now and then and kill a ton of zombies with it so you can level it up to the max level. I'm still at level 2 here. I'm using the Hammer of Valhalla. Personally, I think this has really good crowd control in that it stuns zombies pretty easily once you get it to level 2 and 3. And it also kills zombies super quickly and super easily, so I find this the best zombie killing special weapon. But you could also use one of the other ones if you prefer. It's basically personal preference. Alright, there we go. We've got an electric one, we don't need that. We've got a liquid one, we don't need that. We need a gas zombie right now. This wonder weapon is actually pretty good with an insta-kill because the projectile will actually penetrate tons of zombies at once, which is pretty awesome. And might as well use up the special weapon again and try and level it up to level 3. But you can see how quickly those like gladiators and that, you can just one-shot them once you've got the Pack-a-Punch Telly on. It's super OP. Again, this weapon could catch a nerf from Treyarch at some point in the future, although they haven't nerfed it yet, so fingers crossed, because it's a pretty good weapon to use in almost all the maps in the end game. Getting a few points going anyway. It's always that one elemental zombie that you're trying to find and it never spawns when you want it to, eh? Funny how that happens. But yeah, this map, I actually really like the simple design of it. It's got a nice symmetrical feel to it as well. I think Treyarch did a pretty good job on this map. It's got a nice Roman amphitheater feel. And the final boss fight in the Easter egg is pretty epic as well. So yeah, if you do get super low on health there, you just want to take the shield out straight away and run around with that, because although the traps will still do you damage, just be aware of that. But if you take one hit from zombie with really low health, it can down you, whereas if you have the shield out, it's not going to do any damage at all. It's really good safety net like that. Okay, let's see. We should be able to get this to max right now and have points to spare. And I want to make sure I've got exactly the right alternative ammo gun as well. So
isn't quite as splattered with prima materia as the ship. They just knew how to manipulate it better back. Well,
so kilowatt is actually not too bad. Burned out's pretty good. Probably on the launcher you don't want to have brain rot, which is what we've got here. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. And we've got cryo freeze again. Cryo freeze is sort of okay, but I'd rather have burned out. Probably. And shield time. Nice. So yeah, it's definitely worth leveling up your weapons in your armory as well, because you, especially with the Helion, you can get max. You can actually equip every single modification to it at once. It's probably the only weapon that allows you to do that. And it gives you like extra damage. It gives you extra magazine size. It's pretty awesome. In some ways, this Helion is better than some of the wonder weapons we have in some of the maps here in Black Ops 4. Alright, so as far as weapons go, we're at a nice comfortable spot where we've got them both Pack-a-Punch to max. You can't double Pack-a-Punch the Death of Orion, unfortunately, being a wonder weapon. But we've maxed out the Helion, and we just want to kill that final stupid gas zombie in the acid trap to unlock that Easter egg for trap immunity. After that, we'll be working on some of the challenges. Like the next one should be pretty easy to spend a round inside the temple. There's a gas zombie right there. Yeah, finally. Took long enough. So yeah, you'll hear this audio cue in a moment when it dies. Just there. That audio cue right there means you've completed that Easter egg. So I'll demonstrate it for you in a second in terms of how it works with the fire in the arena. But we're sitting pretty right now. We just need to hit our secret sauce until we get exactly the right Odin perk. And then we'll be pretty much ready to go for our high round strategy, part of this guide. Alright, so yeah, basically just destroy these zombies. Nothing too complicated right now. Kill the Blight Father. They see just how quick you are to kill that Blight Father. Like, sometimes when I go in a public match with randoms and like a Blight Father spawns, they'll like just take forever shooting at it, trying to kill it. But all you need to do is whip out your shield and you kill it in a few seconds. Yeah. So what do you guys think of the Black Ops 4 zombies maps? Like, there is a lot of whinging and complaining in the zombies community online, at least, but it's not always representative of, you know, the majority of fans who don't go online and complain about things, if you know what I mean. And we actually got Quick Revive out of the secret source machine pretty quick there. Sometimes it will take like 10, 15 hits before you get exactly which perk you want, because it is random. That's one of the downsides of secret source, is you can go through a lot of points trying to get the perk that you want. But we got relatively lucky and got it pretty quickly here, which is nice. But yeah, that secret source, when the game first came out, I was like, what is this? It's the last one you unlock, but it doesn't seem that great because it just gives you a random perk. But you can actually have it equipped on all 4 slots if you want, and then just change up your perks during the game without having to down yourself to lose your perk that you've got selected already. So it actually gives you a lot of flexibility. And I don't think some players understand that side of it, which is certainly what Track would have intended. So that's pretty cool. I just hope we see... I'm pretty sure they're bringing out a new perk soonish. But hopefully they bring out some interesting new perks for us, because we're used to getting like a unique perk in every new map, but we haven't seen that at all so far in Black Ops 4 Zombies. And hopefully we can level this thing up to max now. And we got that full power drop. You can see just how beastly this hammer is. I really enjoy using this thing. We got another full power as well. That's like 2 full powers in a row. Crazy stuff. While we're talking about drops, I might as well explain how the drop system works in general in Black Ops 4 Zombies. And it's similar to Black Ops 3 Zombies actually as well, but basically you get 4 drops per round, unless you're using an elixir drop or something like that. You get 4 drops per round. Now they used to drop at the start of the round very, very quickly, like for the first few zombies, but they've tried to space them out a bit more in one of the last patches. But yeah, if you count 4 drops, basically, unless you get a Blightfather or something like that, which always drops power up, you know that you're not going to be getting a max ammo after that in the round. So it's just sort of a good piece of knowledge to know, so that you know if you need to do something desperate in the higher rounds, like try and hit the box to recycle your weapon or something like that for ammo. Now this location here in the pit, guys, this is actually going to be the main area where we run our trains for the higher rounds ultimately. But for now, we've still got a few things that we need to do. So I'm just going to restart the round in the temple to get this next challenge done. And we're going to complete a round inside the actual temple to get that challenge ticked off, because we've still got a couple of challenges to go to get that free perk happening. So we're going to go back into the temple and just kill the last few zombies here in this round 24. I think there's more zombies here than I thought there were. Thought we were pretty much near the end of the round, but it looks like we still got a few zombies to kill. Just use up the ammo in the Circuit's Kiss. So yeah, the effect of that Circuit's Kiss, like the charged effect, it's sort of okay in that it locks down the zombies, but it takes forever to actually kill them, which is a real downside, especially if you're trying to get through high rounds quickly with it. So you're better off using the launcher for most of your kills, or traps. But anyway, round 25 is the round we're going to spend in the temple. And you just want to make sure, if you're in a higher round trying to survive in the temple, that you have your special weapon, you have your shield, all that good stuff. You could also, you know, have your burned out going. Still got burned out on cooldown at this point though. And this turns out to be a boss round, so mini boss round. So it's actually going to be pretty quick, thankfully. You can lock onto the mini bosses and the actual Easter egg final bosses as well with the Helion, but in some ways it's best just to aim normally, because sometimes if you lock onto them, the missile actually misses, especially at distance. For some reason, the targeting is not very good at all in zombies. Alright, anyway, we unlocked that challenge reward, so let's go see what it is. In this case, we just get a full power drop from that. There's a few weapons you'll get as well, like a pack-a-punched LMG and stuff later on. But by that point, you've probably got the weapons you already want to keep, so you can just, as I said before, if you don't want to pick up the weapon rewards, you can just knife them to get rid of them. move on to the next challenge. You can see here, the start of the round, we're taking this fire damage the first time we go through these flames, but after we go through them again now, we'll be completely immune to the fire. So that is very, very convenient. So you don't have to worry about getting burned if you're on low health. So I'm glad they added that in, because that's a really good little Easter egg from Treyarch. Makes this map a lot more manageable in this area of it anyway. I haven't really tested the effect that you get with blade traps, but I imagine that you probably wouldn't take any damage or very little damage from the blade traps as well. That's maybe something you guys can test, but I haven't really found a need to test that one out. I have completed the main Easter egg on this map as well, solo, which I was very pleased that I was able to do flawlessly, and that's pretty epic. I'm really glad that Treyarch have made all of the main Easter eggs soloable so far. Hopefully they keep it that way, because not everyone can get 4 competent friends consistently for every single map to complete a complicated Easter egg. And it's very, very rare that you can complete an Easter egg with randoms. I have done it before. Sometimes you find some really good players that way that you can get friends with and play regularly with, but the exception more than the rule, unfortunately. Now this area here, guys, we're back in the pit, and this is going to be our main training area, as I said before. So basically what you want to do, how this works is, you want to have your shield out and gather the zombies around this area. Try and keep them fairly tight if you can around the shield location where these 2 pillars are. And then you can run a loop around the back side of the room and come back down this area here where there's a trap. And you can basically turn the trap on when it's available. But as long as you have your shield out, and we just have to unlock it because the stupid Blightfather locked it down. There we go. As long as you have your shield out, you're invulnerable to any damage from the zombies, so you can train them up without worrying about taking damage. And as I said, it's possible Treyarch will nerf Victorious Tortoise, so keep that in mind, that at some point in the future, maybe the perk won't work as well as it does, but whenever your shield is about to break, you want to buy a new one. And you can do that pretty regularly without losing all your points. And basically when you've got the zombies grouped up here, you just shoot them with the Helion. Rinse and repeat. It's very, very easy. It's a pretty quick strategy. It's not the quickest possible strategy. There's another strategy you can use that you would have seen me try out in my live stream on Twitch. Where you can keep the door closed in the flooded crypt area, and basically there's one window the zombies spawn from, pretty much, and you just sit there with the launcher and just kill everything with the launcher. But that goes through the ammo really, really fast, and to be honest, it's probably not a legitimate high round strategy if you're interested in getting a legitimate record, something like that on this map, because it's what we call a one window spawn strategy, which are considered exploits, so by the high round community generally. But it's pretty fun if you want to try that one out. You can check out my use of it on my Twitch channel right now. That video might not be up forever, but it's up there right now. But I found that this strategy here, although it takes slightly longer because there's tons of different spawns in this room, is very safe and very ammo efficient, so you don't have to worry about running out of ammo, because you're also using the trap here, and you're also grouping up more zombies before you kill them. Instead of just killing like 5 or 6, you're killing like 20 or so in one shot. Now this strategy, I must say, is a strategy that I saw suggested by a user on Reddit, so I tested it out myself and found it to be pretty effective. So I can't remember his name, so I apologize to him for that. But a lot of these strategies I will try, and I'll be inspired by others' strategies when I'm basically demonstrating them for you guys. They're certainly not all original strategies, because let's face it, a lot of these areas are fairly intuitive in terms of training locations and so forth. Yeah, so basically we're nearly at round 30 here, and what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to show you guys some round 50 gameplay, just so you know what round 50 is like with this exact same strategy. On round 50 in Black Ops 4 Zombies, all of the zombies become sprinters. So that does sort of change a little bit how you manage them, and how you run your strategies and stuff like that in the maps. So this is why stamina up is probably good in some maps from round 50 onwards, for example, but we do have a fairly stationary area here where we're not really sprinting too much. Plus we have our quick revive as our Odin perk, which gives us that speed burst when we need it. So it's very effective. If the Blightfather spawns in here, you can either kill him with his shield if it's safe to do so, if you've got enough durability left on your shield, or you can just shoot him a few times with the Helion, which kills him pretty quickly as well. And you'll see an example of that later on. Sometimes I like to focus down the elemental zombies as well, particularly the water zombie, which buffs the other zombies, so you probably want to get rid of him as quickly as you can. The trouble with him is that the water zombies tend to lurk around corners of the map and hide from you a bit. And it's a good idea to limit your use of your specialist weapon, just so you can have that ready to whip out if you do get in a situation where you're trapped, or your shield breaks and you get trapped. So you have that up your sleeve as an escape. So unless you really need that, if you run out of ammo or something to clear a path, try and have that up your sleeve ready to be activated, rather than using it regularly for no real reason. Anyway, we have now killed our 3 catalyst zombies, so we're actually going to head back and trigger the next challenge for our banner challenges. And after this challenge, the next challenge reward will be the free perk as well, which is definitely something that we want to try and unlock. So the challenge is to maintain maximum crowd affinity for 2 minutes. So we're going to get burned a little bit here, but we're just going to burn ourselves so that we can get that trap immunity for this round, and then we'll be good to go. So that timer will start ticking once we're at max affinity. So yeah, this is a relatively easy challenge, but some of the later challenges can get pretty, I wouldn't say difficult, just like very situational. Like there's one where you have to kill the Blightfather as it's dragging you towards it with its tongue. That can be pretty situational, but this one's not too bad. I don't mind this one. We're at max crowd affinity right now. So it's just a matter of letting the clock tick down, not taking too much damage, all that stuff. So yeah, the special attack here, the lightning attack with the level 3 Hammer of Valhalla is pretty epic in terms of stunning everything and destroying the zombies. It doesn't kill the boss zombies very quickly, but it definitely locks them down so they're not jumping around everywhere. Then you can just kill them with the melee.
Man with a gimpy eye just put you down, big fella. Time to,
Alrighty, so we've got a minute to go. And because we're near the end of the round, I'm just like going to slow things down and like wait this out so we can grab that reward and then get back to our spot again.
Max ammo. Cheers, mate. Promise I won't use them all at once.
So yeah, just playing the waiting game. 30 seconds to go. We can't lower that affinity either, so I have to be real careful here. Alright, 10 seconds. We should manage it just as the round restarts here, and I'm just going to grab that free perk and hopefully it's a good one. Alright, here we go, and we get Strong Cold Stronghold. Alright, let's fast forward to round 50, guys, so you can see what round 50 is like with our strategy here. Okay, so here we are at the start of round 50, still on 0 down. So very safe, very efficient, effective strategy, this one for a solo player on Classic to get to those higher rounds. It's a pretty fun strategy as well because you're constantly moving around, having to react to different things. You're not just sitting in one corner shooting at one window where the zombies are coming from. And as we head into round 50 here, we'll have all sprinters for the regular zombies coming at us. We're going to have elementals of all different kinds. We're going to have the mini bosses as well, gladiators. We're going to have the brawlers. We're going to have possibly blight fathers to deal with. But the Helion is more than enough to deal with all of those enemies. And we're going to have the shield as well while we're training them up to completely protect us, which we can repair from the bench behind us. So we should be pretty comfortable. You just want to stick to the strategy, have your specialists ready to go if you get trapped and stuff like that. Now, on the higher rounds, because you are taking a lot of damage from a whole bunch of different things, you will notice that the shield durability does go down a little bit quicker than on the earlier rounds. Activate the trap whenever you can. It has a fairly quick cooldown on it. Not too many zombies come through that trap, but still it does help. And running this as well, even though you are buying the shield repairs pretty regularly and hitting the trap regularly, I found that the points still did keep ticking up. So it's what that means is that it's a sustainable strategy in terms of the points as well. And you've got your Wraith Fires, or if you've got lucky and got Homunculuses, you can chuck them out every now and then as well, just to help with the killing. So there we took some damage to our shield, but it's all good. I tend to repair it once it's about halfway durability or just below that, just to be on the safe side. The one downside of this particular area is if you do get an insta-kill like that, there's not really one good spot where you can sit and like cover the whole room. But you know, your grenades can do the job, I guess, on the normal zombies. So yeah, round 50, there are a lot of zombies to get through. It does take quite a bit longer. I think it's about 10 minutes or thereabouts, I would say, for round 50 using this this particular strat, but it's not too bad. So I mean, one of these days I'll probably sit down and try and get to a really high round, but I haven't had a lot of time to dedicate to like around 100 attempts yet, but I probably will do that. I'm thinking of doing it on possibly Blood of the Dead. I might even be live streaming that on my weekly Zombies live stream on Twitch. We'll see how we go with that. That's probably the next map that I'll bring a guide out for as well, by the way. You'll notice I haven't upgraded the shield in this guide, and the reason for that is it's very complicated and lengthy procedure, and it doesn't really do a great deal in terms of the benefit either. So I personally think it's not really worth the benefit. But I mean, if you did want to do that, that's something you could try out. We've got a Blight Father in here as well. So in this case, you could use a shield, or you could just use the launcher, especially with PhD Slider. Even when he sucks me towards him, I can still hit him point blank with the rockets, and he goes down pretty quick. There's a huge area of effect of the launcher damage as well, so it pretty much clears out all the zombies in a pretty large radius from where you're shooting it. And you'll notice here I get trapped, so whip out the old special weapon, Hammer of Valhalla, and we can blast all the zombies out of the way. Get as many kills as we can before it runs out. The reason I whipped it out is because I heard that breaking sound. I thought my shield had broken, but it actually hadn't. So we also could have whipped out the shield, really. But yeah, it's pretty much rinse and repeat. Round up the zombies, blast them with the Helion, and hit the trap. Keep going as long as you want, basically, to whatever round you have the patience for. Or you fall asleep and do something stupid. Anyway, we're pretty much getting towards the end of round 50 here, guys, and I hope this guide has helped you with this map. If you needed some tips on it, please leave a comment below. If you found something helpful, or if you've got another tip that you'd like to share with people, and let me know which map you'd like to see next for my solo high round strategy guides. Keep in mind too that all the other Treyarch maps, I think except for Bus Depot, which I had never got around to doing. I really hate that map, but maybe I'll do it one day. But all the other maps are available on my YouTube channel if you want to go check out the guides for those. And that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Sleepy Jim out.